Good morning and welcome to the 11th annual Wall of the Fallen name unveiling ceremony. Sorry, I'm getting attacked by bugs up here. For any of the families coming forward this morning, I'd just like to say the ground is very wet in the front here if you're not on the concrete due to the storms that we've had recently. So be very careful stepping up here, and be very careful later on if you come up to the wall to see the names and do the wax rubbings and things like that as you're standing there. Normally I give a bit of a speech this morning to start things off. I'm going to forego that this year because we've got, unfortunately we have a member of one of the families that's very close to us in the industry and was affected this year, and I'm going to give them a chance to talk because I think it's a lot more meaningful than hearing from me every year. There's currently 404 names on the wall here. And on behalf of the Wall of the Fallen Committee and the International Towing and Recovery Hall of Fame and Museum Board of Directors, it's our honor to add another 26 today to the wall, although I'd much rather add none every year. I'd like to give a quick shout out to the thousands of towers that are working Hurricane Irma and Hurricane Harvey in Texas and Florida. We have some board members that were directly impacted and affected by the storms, and they're unable to make it. This ceremony means very much to all of us that participate in it, and they send their condolences and prayers to you as well. At this time, I'd like to invite up Hamilton County Mayor Jim Coppinger to say a few words and welcome you to Chattanooga.
Good morning, and thank you all for joining us here today. And obviously it's more impactful for some than others, but I want to begin by saying to the Miller family, to Miller Industry, and I know Will is over here. Will, if you just kind of raise your hand for us over here. Will and his father, very instrumental in putting this together a number of years ago that gives us a place to come back and remember the fallen with the Wall of the Fallen. Their commitment to this over the years has meant a lot to this community. It's meant a lot to the people throughout the United States that come here every year. And I've had the opportunity to participate in this program now for a number of years. And I just want to say to you, all of you that have lost your loved ones, that were committed, that paid the ultimate price as a first responder, we thank you for being here, and we share in your grief. And hopefully this is the beginning today of some healing for some of you that lost loved ones. But again, we feel like the towing industry, particularly here, with what Miller Industry means to us and what the people at the different respective towing industry here means to this community, we feel like we're all family. So I came here today to share in your grief and to tell you we're so appreciative of the people that choose this as a profession, to these people that are first responders, and certainly today to the ones that gave the ultimate sacrifice in giving their lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. This time I'd like to invite up Hamilton County Sheriff Jim Hammond to say a few words.
Sheriff. Good morning and welcome to Chattanooga, Tennessee, on the banks of the beautiful Tennessee River. Thank you for all being here. I thank you on behalf of law enforcement. Law enforcement, of course, is a fellow first responder along with the towing industry. When we look over our first responders and we think of the police and the fire and the rescue and the medical and the towers that are out there clearing the highways and byways, it's what keeps this country the way it is. We thank our military who protect us around the world. We thank our police who protect us here in this great country. We thank the medical personnel and the rescue, but sometimes we forget to thank those of you sitting out there today, the men and women who clear the highways, save lives, and rescue. I don't think there's a more fitting monument in this community than this one here. And every time I come down this street about my daily routines as sheriff, I always look over here at that monument. I thank the Miller family because not only do they contribute to this kind of thing in the museum, but many, many things you don't know about that they contribute every day to the men and women here in Hamilton County who are first responders. It is a pleasure to have you here. I think I've only missed about 2 over the years. Thank you for being with us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. At this time, I'd like to invite up Linda Unruh, the owner of All Right Towing in New Mexico, who lost her son, unfortunately, this year in a line of duty and will be added to the wall today.
Wow. Good morning, everybody. So, today, we all have a story. The ending's the same, and it brings us here for the Wall of the Fallen. It's a beautiful place for our loved ones to be honored and forever be remembered. This site, the museum, the Wall of the Fallen, was made possible by so many special, wonderful people that were determined to make the museum what it is today. And it continues to grow and to be honored. We are here to share the same pain, to add a name. And not just any name on the wall. The names are of our loved ones. That will never be forgotten in our hearts. This wall is referred to as the Wall of the Fallen. So their legacy lives on in our industry and truly in our broken hearts. I believe the International Toll Hall of Fame is a home for our fallen heroes, a place where our loved ones are etched in stone, to never be forgotten. I'm honored to be here before you today to share the story of my son, Bobby Unruh. Thank you for having me. Many of you don't remember what you were doing at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday, February 19th. But I do, vividly. That was nearly the exact moment that I spoke with my son, Bobby, for the last time. He was on his way to assist with a heavy-duty tow at mile marker 317, just west of Tucumcari, New Mexico, where we live and we work. Less than 2 hours later, he was gone. Not only was Bobby my son, but he was my most valued employee. He started at an extremely young age, like we all do. When we start the towing business, we start it young. Safety was his number one concern. He had grown up in the industry and trained other operators on the dangers of the road. He was humble and he was kind. He made friends everywhere he went. So let me take just a minute when I say that about my son. I truly believe that our industry is the same kind. You people are all humble and kind. We live the same story. We hurt and have the same pain. And at the end of the day, I see all of these uniforms that I consider a medal of honor. Because when you go hit that highway, we don't know if we're coming home. I truly believe that day my son thought he was coming home to his 3 young children, a single dad. So at the end of the day, I've always said, please take time to say I love you, even to our tow families. I do it on a daily basis. I did it prior to my son's loss. We're here today to unite, and unite for a purpose. And the purpose is that we need to save lives. How do we save lives? Well, we save lives by uniting. We're a family, and this family is all over our nation. And we have to step up and get up and make a difference, because it takes all of us. If we don't do this, there's 26 on the wall today. We don't want 26 on the wall. We want none. And that's my journey, and that's my passion. But I believe that when I am so strongly motivated in saving a life, my son didn't have to die in vain. We can save lives. Every one of you have a talent. I've seen it. I've heard it. I'm asking from the bottom of my heart, please, please, don't let another family hurt like this. And you people are our hope. It's your voice. I can't do it alone. I've never done anything alone. I didn't build my towing company alone. I had people that were brought to me that made a difference, and truly, in the 80s when I started, I needed all the help I could get, because women didn't do this. And so we can all learn to unite, come together, and make that difference. By working together and supporting each other in the Slow Down, Move Over movement, we as a towing family can educate the public on this initiative and effort legislation that protects towing operators and other first responders in their respective states. I did it. I did it in record amount of time. Did I think I could do it? I knew I could do it. Because whenever you know that there could be that next person that can be taken from us within seconds, and all it is just seconds, and realize that your whole life is shattered. Each and every time we respond to a call, we as towing first responders put our lives on the line to help the motoring public. It's time we take action, our own hands, to protect us while we're out on that call. I believe that my story is similar. I believe that we have to learn that the only way that we can do what we need to do to voice ourselves on the Slow Down, Move Over movement is to please. We're family. What do families do? I can tell you right now, if I was in trouble and I needed help, I could find somebody in New Jersey and New York, I don't care what state it is. And if I asked them to be there, they'd be there. And I think you all know that. Yes, we have competitors, but that's a good thing. Because you know what? Once the Slow Down, Move Over movement went into this journey, I'm going to tell you right now, home is so close to it happened to somebody else, because our motoring public's not paying attention. It's a whole new ball game. When I started years ago, Slow Down, Move Over used to be a courtesy to move over. I remember that. People now, it's the law. And so we can initiate that in so many different ways. You can come together and you can bring ideas. We can strategize together. My goal is to please not have 26 on this wall. 404 is what I think that I heard this morning. Truly, that's one too many. Let me share a little bit about my son, Bobby. The law was enacted in his name, Bobby's Law. Bobby was a devoted employee and even a more devoted father of 3. He absolutely loved his job and everything towing meant to him. He loved his truck. He loved the color of the pink tow trucks. I mean, this guy was like all over it. And at the end of the day, I can't give up. I have that loss as a son and my only son. But now it's you. Excuse me, I get excited. It's you all. It's really you all that I need to get the word out. This is why I'm here today. I'm here speaking for us. We can't do this no more. This is a sad day for us all. Sad day for families. Heartbreak that takes us on for years. I can't quit. I'm not a quitter. 2 days after Bobby's passing, I had a conversation with my attorney. And in New Mexico, it seems like I think we were the last one to have the slow down, move over law passed. Let me tell you something. When you have this warrior that comes within your soul to say, "You're serious? We're not protected in our state?" Everybody else was protected except tow truck drivers. And that was 2 days after my son's passing. 2 days that I said, "Okay, Lord, I've got this one. I'm going to make a difference." So I commenced to make that happen in 19 days. 19 days of, is it going to happen or isn't? I knew that it would, but it was everything I had. So the fight still continues. The fight will be there until we all decide that we're as one. And as one, I know we can do this. My words cannot express the thankfulness and gratitude I have in my heart for everyone who has helped me through this journey. So far in getting the awareness spread, this journey has not been easy. I'm still in pain, just like all the families today, at the loss of my son. I'm very much still in the healing process. I choose to focus on gratefulness and blessings to keep my spirits lifted. And when I see all of you out here, it's done that today. My son Bobby brought sunshine and love to all that he touched. From my family to yours, stay strong. We will miss them for a lifetime. Truly will miss them, but we'll keep them in our memories and alive forever. I said if I could ask God a favor, it would be to ask if I could trade places on the wall with my son today. He has fallen, but he's not forgotten, just like all of you. And please, I'm a phone call away. I want to do this. And it's going to take all of us, please. I'm asking you to take this on with me. The journey is not going to be easy, but I'll keep my faith, and I'll stay strong, and I'll stay strong for this industry. That's all I have is you all. I don't have anything else. May God bless you all, and I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. I know that was very difficult to do. Having been through this experience myself in the past, it's very emotional to get in front of a crowd like this and speak from your heart. I'd like to ask Rodney Pointer to come up and give this morning's prayer.
Before I give the prayer, I've got a little short one I usually say, and it's God give me the serenity to accept the things I can't change, the power to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And listening to Linda, the power is there, the wisdom is there, and we need to make it a positive for us. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you today as we honor the men and women who have lost their lives while serving in the towing and recovery industry. Our chosen profession comes with not only physical risk, but also a commitment to assist the motoring public. Those honored here today rose to the challenge and came to the aid of others. While doing so, these lives were cut short, and today we stand humbly before you, asking that you touch those left behind and guide them as they mourn. Let our grieving fade as we move ahead, but never let us forget the sacrifices of so many before us. Help us to find a new way to make our industry a safer one, that we may never have to add another wall, another name to the wall of the fallen. We ask that you provide your loving comfort to those here and afar who are suffering from losses represented on the wall. We know that through you we can someday be united again in your kingdom. Until that time, we pray for true peace, one that can only come from you, to be bestowed upon the families, co-workers, and industry friends of our fallen. It is difficult to understand your will and why these tragedies occur, but we trust in you and in your mercy. You promise comfort and bring hope for the future for those left behind. Please guide our industry efforts to reduce the risk in our work. Bless those around us in the police, fire, and emergency medical as we all work toward a common goal. Most of all, Lord, show the families of these men and women your loving kindness. Show them peace and help heal their hearts while always remembering those who have been lost. We thank you for the comfort you provide for those uncertain times. Amen.
Thank you, Roddy. This time I'd like to commence the flag raising ceremony with the national anthem. Thank you. Please be seated. At this point, I'd like to offer the extreme condolences, prayers, and thoughts of the Wall of Fallen Committee, the International Towing and Hall of Fame and Museum Board of Directors, its President Bill Graziana, the Towing and Recovery Association of America, its President Jeff Roskoff, and all of the towing industry that's here with you today to share in your loss and grievance. I'd like to do so with a moment of silence to honor the 26 names that we're about to add to the wall. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite up Wall of the Fallen committee members Terry Warford, Ruth Landau, Randy Olson, and Pat Nahum to read those that are to be honored and placed on the wall today. If a representative of the family could step forward as they read the name, feel free to release your balloons. One of our escorts will meet you and bring you to the front here, where Jeff Roscoff and Bill Graziana will distribute the certificate on the Wall of the Fallen, take a picture with you, and come forward here. Terry? I think the Banks family is here. I saw a late family come in.
I would humbly request that a family member please step forward to accept a certificate and rose in remembrance of Macy Lee Alvey III, New Orleans, Louisiana, 34 years old. Macy Alvey was assisting a disabled truck on the side of the interstate on the morning of March 2nd, 2017. During his work, he was standing on the driver's side of the vehicle when it was sideswiped by an SUV operated by a woman suspected to be impaired and whose driver's license had been suspended. The SUV impacted the disabled vehicle, the tow truck, Mr. Alvey, before causing further accident damage and injuries to additional vehicles and its occupant. Macy Alvey died at the scene, leaving behind his wife and 2 children. We respectfully add Macy Lee Alvey III to our Wall of the Fallen. I would humbly request that a family member please step forward to accept a certificate and rose in remembrance of Marcus L. Banks, Stanton, Kentucky, 48 years old. Marcus Banks had parked his tow truck on the right shoulder of the road, turned on his beacons, and loaded a disabled vehicle for a customer the night of September 9th, 2016. As he worked to secure the vehicle, an SUV drifted across the line and impacted Marcus and his tow truck simultaneously. The driver of the SUV never hit his brakes, and the impact cost Marcus his life. Marcus leaves behind his wife and 2 children. We respectfully add Marcus L. Banks to our Wall of the Fallen. I would humbly request that a family member please step forward to accept a certificate and rose in remembrance of Scott E. Bowles, Killeen, Texas, 39 years old. Scott Bowles went out to recover a disabled vehicle on the interstate early on the morning of May 11th, 2017. As he arrived, his lights were on and he got out to approach the vehicle he was there to tow. As he walked next to his truck, he was struck by a minivan whose driver had not slowed down or moved over. Scott's injuries were severe, and he was pronounced on arrival at the hospital. Scott leaves behind his wife and 3 children. We respectfully add Scott E. Bowles to our Wall of the Fallen. Our next honoree is Terry L. Childers, Kannapolis, North Carolina, 69 years old. Just before noon on March 9, 2017, Terry Childers was driving his tow truck when he lost control of the vehicle, leaving the roadway and hitting a tree. Mr. Childers was pinned in the vehicle for some time before help arrived, and then he was airlifted to the hospital. Terry did not recover from his injuries and died the next day, leaving behind his wife and 2 adult children. We respectfully add Terry L. Childers to our Wall of the Fallen. I would humbly request that a family member please step forward to accept a certificate and rose in remembrance of Jeffrey A. Clovis, Morgantown, West Virginia, 48 years old. Jeff Clovis was a 27-year towing veteran with his employer in West Virginia. Jeff's Heavy was one of 2 units responding to a tractor-trailer event on the interstate in the early morning hours of August 9, 2016. Jeff had arrived on the scene and was waiting behind the unit's trailer for the tractor to be loaded. As he sat in his truck, another tractor-trailer left the roadway and crashed into the back of Jeff's truck, throwing him from the cab. Jeff died on impact, leaving behind his wife and 2 children. We respectfully add Jeffrey Allen Clovis to our Wall of the Fallen. I would humbly request that a family member please step forward to accept a certificate and rose in remembrance of David L. Dutchnick, Scott Township, Pennsylvania, 29 years old. On August 5th, 2016, the morning after celebrating his birthday, David Dutchnick was working to clear a crash scene on the interstate. As he worked, a tractor-trailer veered into the closed lane, entering the scene and striking a pickup, pushing it into David and causing severe injuries. David was transported to the trauma unit, but succumbed to his injuries and passed away on August 8, 2016, leaving behind his wife. We respectfully add David Lawrence Dutchnick to our Wall of the Fallen.
I would humbly request that a family member please step forward to accept a certificate and rose in remembrance of Thomas A. Flahart, Sr., Parkville, Maryland, 48 years old. On May 24th of this year, Thomas Flahart was on the side of a city road in the Baltimore area preparing to tow a disabled vehicle. Thomas was behind this truck when a car operated by a driver believed to be impaired failed to slow down, left the roadway, and struck Thomas and his truck. EMS responders airlifted Thomas to a nearby trauma center, but he died as a result of his injuries, leaving behind his fiancée, 4 children, and a grandchild. We respectfully add Thomas A. Flahart, Sr. to our Wall of the Fallen. I would humbly request that a family member please step forward to accept a certificate and rose in remembrance of Frederick R. Griffith, Jr., San Diego, California, 55 years old. On February 23, 2017, Fred Griffith was working near San Diego, California. As he was loading a garbage truck on the right shoulder, a repeat DUI offender with a suspended license approached in an SUV. The SUV left the roadway and struck Fred, and the driver fled the scene. Paramedics worked to save Fred's life, but he died of his